Hey, Infidelity Love Lies fam. Get ready for a story that still carves scars into my soul, even now. This isn't some fictional drama you binge watch. This is my life played out in excruciating, heart-shattering reality. 5 years. That's how long I woke up every morning, looked into the innocent eyes of my daughter, and believed a lie so monstrous it still makes my stomach churn. My best friend, my husband, they conspired meticulously to steal not just my future, not just my marriage, but my very essence, my motherhood. The framed family photo I held that day felt less like a memento and more like a ticking bomb, primed to explode into a lifetime of irreversible pain. This wasn't just about a stolen partner. It was about a stolen life, a stolen child, and a desperate, gut-wrenching fight to reclaim what was truly mine. The world stopped spinning the moment Rachel said it. Just like that. The air in my own living room turned to ice, and the familiar scent of my daughter's favorite lavender soap suddenly reeked of betrayal, thick and cloying. "She's not yours, Sarah. David and I switched the embryos. She's ours. You were just the carrier." My hands, still damp from washing dishes, froze. 5 years of sleepless nights, of tiny hands clutching my finger, of scraped knees, kissed better, of whispered, "I love yous," dissolved into a sickening, acidic lie. My best friend, my husband, the two people I had anchored my entire universe to, the two people I trusted most in this world, had conspired to steal not just my future, but my very essence, my motherhood. The framed family photo I was holding, David, me, and our beautiful bright-eyed girl nestled between us, a perfect fabricated family. It suddenly felt like a bomb, ticking down to an explosion of shattered glass and a lifetime of irreversible pain. This wasn't just about a stolen husband, it was about a stolen life, a stolen child, and a desperate primal fight to reclaim what was truly mine. It was a Tuesday, the kind of dreary Oregon afternoon where the rain seems to weep alongside you, mirroring the storm that had just erupted inside me. I remember standing in the kitchen, the warmth of the coffee mug, a stark, cruel contrast to the glacial chill that had settled deep in my bones. 5 years. 5 years of waking up to that sweet, innocent face of her little feet, pattering down the hall, of believing with every fiber of my being that she was a piece of me, a miracle I'd fought so hard for, prayed for. But now the silence in the house was deafening, amplified by the echo of Rachel's words still reverberating in my head, a cruel, mocking melody that chipped away at my sanity. My hands trembled as I picked up that framed photograph on the counter, David beaming his arm around me and our beautiful Lily, a perfect fabricated family. The glass felt cold, then sharp as my grip tightened. I saw my reflection, a distorted stranger with wide, disbelieving eyes, and with a guttural cry that tore from the deepest part of my soul, I slammed the frame down. The shattering glass was a symphony to my unraveling world, a violent punctuation mark to the end of everything I thought was real. "You didn't just take my husband. You stole every single moment I fought, bled, and risked my life for this child." My voice was hoarse, raw, an animalistic sound I barely recognized. The words hung in the air, thick with a pain so profound it felt physical, like an internal organ had been ripped from my chest. Each shard of glass on the counter was a broken piece of my heart, glinting malevolently under the dim kitchen light. And the worst part, my little girl, my daughter, was just down the hall, likely humming a tune from her favorite cartoon, utterly oblivious to the earthquake that had just torn through her world, through my world. How could I possibly breathe in a world where such monstrous deceit could exist? The world spun. The vibrant colors of Lily's drawings on the fridge blurred into an indistinguishable mess. My ears buzzed a high-pitched whine that drowned out the mundane sounds of the neighborhood. My knees threatened to buckle. Switched the embryos. Her egg, my carrier. The words slammed into me, each one a hammer blow to my chest, driving the air from my lungs. Then the anger, hot and searing, ignited in my veins, eclipsing the shock. It was a primal, gut-wrenching fury that demanded an outlet. You took my husband. You stole my marriage. You stole my entire life. I screamed, my voice cracking, echoing in the sudden cavernous silence of the house. Rachel just shrugged a casual dismissal that fueled my rage, even further pouring gasoline onto the inferno. He was never really yours, Sarah. Not completely. And that's when I saw it, the framed family photo on the kitchen counter. David, me, and our beautiful Lily. A monument to a lie so meticulously constructed, so callously maintained. My hand reached for it, trembling with a force beyond my control, then slammed it down. The glass exploded, sending shards across the pristine quartz, each splinter a miniature dagger reflecting the broken pieces of my life. You didn't just take my husband. You stole every single moment I fought, bled, and risked my life for this child. You stole my purpose, my identity. My voice tore from my throat, raw and guttural, each word a physical wrench. The image of Lily, safe in her room, oblivious humming her cartoon tunes, was a fresh wave of agony. How could someone be so utterly cruel? So devoid of humanity, Rachel simply watched me, a flicker of something, perhaps triumph, in her eyes. It's our child, Sarah, mine and David's. You just incubated her. Incubated her. The dehumanizing word resonated in the shattered air, a chilling echo of her contempt. I had carried her, nurtured her, brought her into this world, with every ounce of my strength, every fiber of my being. I had endured 17 hours of agonizing labor pushing, until I thought I would break just to hold her in my arms. I had spent countless nights awake, rocking her, feeding her, comforting her fevers, changing countless diapers. And now I was just an incubator. The betrayal was so deep, so profound, it felt like my very identity was being erased. This wasn't just a broken heart, it was a fractured soul, ripped apart at the seams. And as the initial shock subsided, a new, terrifying realization dawned. This wasn't just a betrayal of me. It was a betrayal of a pure, innocent life. In that moment, standing amidst the glittering shards of my shattered world, I knew one thing for sure: the fight of my life had just begun, and I was going to win. The sterile scent of the clinic still haunts me, a phantom smell of hope, and unbeknownst to me, a sickening conspiracy that had been brewing under my nose for years. How could I have been so blind, so desperate for motherhood, that I missed the chilling truth hidden in plain sight? I was Sarah, 33 years old at the time, an accountant at a small financial firm in suburban Oregon, intelligent, educated, and pretty successful in my career, but also deeply emotional, a woman who truly believed in the sanctity of family and friendship above all else. My bond with Rachel was supposed to be ironclad. We'd navigated college dorms and bad breakups together through countless late-night talks and shared secrets. I trusted her with my entire being, like a sister I never had. That trust, I now realized, was my greatest, most fatal vulnerability. My friendship with Rachel, it was supposed to be unbreakable. She was more than a friend. She was family. So when she started spending more and more time at our house, it felt natural. Normal. "Oh, Sarah, I just love your new kitchen island." Or, "David, this chili is amazing. Can I get the recipe?" Innocent enough, right? She'd linger sometimes until David and I were ready for bed, always with a plausible excuse, a late work project, a fight with her on-again, off-again boyfriend. My trusting heart, so eager to see the best in people, just saw a friend seeking comfort, a sister needing her tribe. But then there were moments, fleeting and unsettling, that my mind, in its desperate attempt to protect my peace, had conveniently glossed over. I remember one evening, David, my husband, a 35-year-old PE teacher, outwardly charming and reliable, was in the kitchen with Rachel. I walked in to grab a glass of water and saw Rachel standing a little too close to David, her hand lingering on his shoulder as he stirred a pot of pasta. It was a fleeting touch, barely noticeable, but something about it made a tiny cold prickle run down my spine. I dismissed it immediately. "Oh, they're just friends being goofy," I told myself, shaking off the irrational unease. My mind, ever the loyal protector, painted over the tiny crack that had just appeared in my perfect facade. Then came our cabin getaway. A weekend escape to a cozy spot just outside Portland, surrounded by towering pines and the crisp scent of damp earth. It was meant to be a chance for David and me to reconnect, maybe even talk about starting a family, which we'd been struggling with for a while. Rachel, of course, invited herself along. "Oh, you guys have to let me tag along. I need a break from the city, and a girls' weekend with you. Sarah sounds divine." Her enthusiasm was infectious, or so I thought. David seemed less enthused, a subtle frown on his face when she brought it up, but he quickly plastered on his usual charming smile. During that trip, they'd often disappear. "Going to grab more firewood," David would say, or "just running to the store for snacks." Rachel would chime in. They'd be gone for what felt like ages. I'd be curled up by the fireplace, reading, a little part of me wondering why both of them needed to go for wood, or why a simple snack run took over an hour. Sometimes I'd catch a glance between them, a quick conspiratorial flicker in their eyes, a shared amusement that seemed to deliberately exclude me. My stomach would tighten a familiar knot of unease, but I'd always rationalize it away. They're just being helpful, and maybe they're planning a surprise for me. My brain was a master of denial, shielding me from the truth I wasn't ready to confront. And the texts? Oh, the texts. David's phone constantly buzzing late at night. He'd always angle it away from me, his thumb flying across the screen with a speed I never saw when he replied to my messages. "It's work stuff, babe." Or just Rachel. "She's going through some tough times with Mark, you know?" And I did know. I sympathized. I encouraged him to be there for his friend, for our friend. I was so caught up in being the supportive partner, the understanding friend, that I willingly built the walls of my own prison. I trusted. And in that trust, I was blind. The foundation of my life was crumbling, and I was too busy watering the weeds to notice the cracks to see the impending avalanche. The decision to try IVF wasn't an easy one. Years of trying, of monthly disappointments, of the emotional roller coaster that is infertility had taken their toll on both David and me. It felt like a last resort, a desperate plea to the universe for the one thing we both desperately wanted: a child. I remember the clinical smell of the fertility clinic, the cold sterility of the rooms, a sharp contrast to the warm, hopeful dreams we carried in our hearts. We underwent all the tests endured, the injections, the monitoring, the constant poking and prodding. It was draining physically and emotionally, but every step, every shot, every dollar spent was fueled by the vision of a tiny nursery of baby laughs echoing through our home. The day of the embryo transfer was a blur of nervous excitement. David was there holding my hand, his usual cheerful demeanor, a comforting anchor in my anxiety. Or so I thought. Looking back now through the fog of betrayal, I can almost see the subtle tension in his jaw, the quick, almost imperceptible glances he exchanged with, well, I didn't know with whom at the time. I was too focused on the screen, on the tiny speck that represented our future, too overwhelmed with the hope that was finally blossoming after years of barren longing. The doctor, a kind woman with a gentle voice, explained everything. The procedure was quick, almost painless. And then the agonizing wait. Those 2 weeks felt like an eternity. Every cramp, every twinge, every subtle change in my body was scrutinized, analyzed, prayed over. And then the call. "Congratulations, Sarah. You're pregnant." The words were a cascade of pure joy, a wave of relief so immense it brought me to my knees, tears streaming down my face. David scooped me up, twirling me around in our living room, his laughter mingling with my happy sobs. We celebrated. We dreamt. We picked out baby names, discussed nursery themes, imagined a lifetime of firsts. I was glowing a vessel for a miracle I believed was unequivocally ours. My body changed, stretched a living testament to the life growing within me. The morning sickness, which for me was really all-day sickness, was brutal. There were days I could barely keep anything down, ending up in the ER more than once for dehydration. My back ached, my feet swelled. Sleep became a distant memory. But every discomfort, every painful contraction, every sleepless night was a badge of honor. This was motherhood. This was love. This was my journey, a sacred, intimate bond, forming between me and the tiny life within. I rubbed my growing belly, whispering lullabies, making promises to the little person who was turning my world upside down in the most beautiful way. Rachel, my best friend. A 32-year-old whom I had shared college and countless secrets with, was always around. She'd bring me ginger ale for my nausea-fluffy socks for my swollen feet, and endless advice, some of it unsolicited, most of it sounding vaguely unenthusiastic. "Oh, Sarah, another bout of morning sickness. You look absolutely green," she'd say without much empathy, her voice flat, almost bored, or when I'd complain about the exhaustion. Seriously, the sleepless nights sound awful. I don't know how anyone does it. I chalked it up to her not being a mom herself, her inability to truly grasp the depth of my experience. I never once suspected the chilling irony of her words, the hidden cruelty beneath her veneer of concern. She was my rock, my confidant, or so I thought. As I drifted off to sleep, exhausted but content, I was blind to the chilling truth that the very foundation of my happiness had been built on a bed of lies, meticulously constructed by the two people I held dearest, two people who would gladly watch my world burn for their selfish desires. The days that followed Rachel's revelation were a blur of tears, rage, and a crushing sense of unreality. I paced my house like a caged animal, the very walls feeling like they were closing in on me, suffocating me with memories of a life that was nothing but a cruel illusion. David, the man I married, the man who had supposedly loved me, disappeared unwilling to face the wreckage he and Rachel had created. He called once a pathetic attempt at justification, something about doing what was best for everyone, a flimsy, pathetic excuse. I hung up my hand, shaking the phone, feeling like a hot coal against my ear. There was no explanation, no apology that could ever mend this. There was no going back. My mind replayed every moment, every subtle hint I had dismissed, every unsettling feeling I had pushed down. Rachel's often repeated complaints about children. I hate the sound of crying babies. It's so annoying. Gives me a headache." I remembered how I'd laughed it off, thinking she just wasn't a kid person, that she'd change her mind one day. But now those words echoed with a chilling, new meaning, a horrifying clarity. She hated the crying, hated the inconvenience, hated the messy reality of motherhood. She just wanted the genetic link, the proof of her bond with David, and she'd used me as a convenient vessel, a disposable incubator. That's when the truth hit me with the force of a tidal wave knocking the air from my lungs and clarity into my mind. Rachel never truly wanted to be a mother, not in the way I understood it, not with the sacrifice, the unending selflessness. Motherhood wasn't about genetics. It was about the unyielding, sacrificial love that blossomed from every tear, every stretch mark, every broken sleep cycle, every single diaper change. It was in the endless hours spent rocking a feverish child, in the quiet joy of watching her take her first steps, in the fierce protectiveness that swelled in my chest every time she giggled. It was in the depths of my being woven into the fabric of my soul, far beyond any mere DNA strand. Lily, my beautiful, innocent Lily. She was the only truth in this nightmare, the one pure, untainted thing I had left. How could I ever let her know the ugliness, the deceit that surrounded her very existence? How could I explain that her father and her aunt had conspired to create her, then used me as a means to an end? The thought of her innocent eyes clouded with confusion, with the knowledge of such a twisted beginning, was unbearable. In that moment, amidst the chaos and the glittering shards of my shattered life, a quiet, fierce resolve began to bloom within me. It wasn't born of spite or revenge, but out of an overwhelming, ferocious love. This house filled with so many lies, so much pain, could no longer be our home. Lily deserved a fresh start, a life free from the shadows of betrayal and the insidious lies that had birthed her. I would leave, take my daughter, and build a new life, a real life where love was genuine and family was defined by connection, by nurture, by unconditional love, not by chromosomes or deceptive schemes. She just needs a real mother, I whispered to myself the words, a quiet promise. No matter whose blood runs in her veins, and that's me. Several years passed. The initial raw, gut-wrenching pain slowly, painstakingly transformed into a dull ache, then eventually a quiet resilience, a steely strength I never knew I possessed. Lily and I moved to a different town, a fresh canvas for our new beginning, away from the tainted memories. I found a new job slowly, cautiously built a new network of friends, and step by painful step, rebuilt my life from the shattered pieces. Every scraped knee, every bedtime story, every school play, every single moment of joy and challenge was a testament to the strength I had found within myself, a testament to the unwavering love that bound Lily and me. We were a unit, a real family. Then, one day, over coffee with a new friend, the news found me, David and Rachel. It was messy, they said. A bitter breakup. He'd lost his job, spiraled into some dark place. She was facing some serious financial trouble, possibly legal issues stemming from some shady dealings. Karma, some might call it. A cosmic justice for the monstrous betrayal. I listened, sipping my latte, a strange, profound calm washing over me. There was no surge of triumphant glee, no vindictive satisfaction, no desire for further destruction. Just a quiet sigh of relief, a deep, cleansing breath. At least, I thought, looking out at the gentle Oregon rain, watching it wash the pavement clean. At least I didn't let my daughter drown in that mess, in that cesspool of their making. Because the truth is, not everyone who shares your blood deserves to be called family. True maternal love isn't born from DNA. It's born from every tear, every stretch mark, every sleepless night spent nurturing a tiny life. It's in the sacrifices, the unwavering devotion, the fierce, protective instinct that transcends any biological connection. And I, Sarah, the woman who was just a carrier, finally understood that I was more a mother than anyone could ever imagine. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Don't let the shadows of betrayal define your story. Find strength in your truth. Subscribe to Infidelity Love Lies for more untold tales of deception, resilience, and the extraordinary strength of the human spirit. Have you ever faced a betrayal that forced you to redefine what family truly means? Share your thoughts in the comments below.